The gentlelady for yielding. Madam Speaker, it's been 56 days since the Trump administration asked for emergency funding to address the humanitarian crisis at our southern border. 56 days. The New York Times gave two editorials, not one, but two. And Mexico is now sending 15,000 troops to the southern border. But Democrats, Madam Speaker, have rejected a bill to provide the aid that is needed, not once, not twice, not even 10 times, but 18 times. Madam Speaker, I was shocked. I actually heard from the other side of the aisle, someone said there was a crisis. I guess after 56 days, they read some of those editorials. Now, after weeks of doing nothing and denying that a crisis exists, they're offering legislation that is misguided and is purely political. They're once again taking what should be a bipartisan issue and inserting partisan poison pills. I would say I would be shocked, but this isn't the only issue they've done that this year. Madam Speaker, they took a bill that had 100% vote from Republicans and Democrats dealing with prescription drugs, and before it got through the Speaker's office, Madam Speaker, it became political, a poison pill. They took a bill that was in Ways and Means that got every Republican and every Democrat to vote for it before, again, it came to the floor. Another poison pill. So I guess we might have to get used to this, but the American public should not. You see, Madam Speaker, that isn't how it's being used on the other side of this building. You see, on the Senate, they actually took up this issue. They passed it out of committee 30-1. I know you might be shocked because I said that went through committee. I know you might be shocked because it said it was bipartisan. I know you might be shocked because they actually let the senators read the bill. You know, Madam Speaker, we're on this floor being sworn in. A lot of promises made. A lot of promises broken. You see, there was a rule change, 72 hours. It actually marked the number of hours. Last night I watched the Rules Committee. They were going to come before the Rules Committee with the bill that we did not see in committee. But you know what? They couldn't get the votes. So we had to say no to the Rules Committee. They'll come back at 10 o'clock. So I eagerly waited at 10. No, we could not come back. It's going to be at 11. Eagerly waited for 11. Did not happen. But luckily, politically, they got in the back of the room and they were able to buy off some more, Madam Speaker, in a political nature and rush something to the floor. I wondered if they were going to keep that rule that they championed so hard about 72 hours. Well, I don't know, maybe 5 equals 72. I'm not sure what math they keep nowadays. But let's talk about how they make this problem even worse. Because I'm not sure anybody's read the bill. I'm not sure even those on the other side know what's in it. Now here's how it's worse. Departments of Homeland Security and Health and Human Services cannot share information about the sponsors of children. Think about that for one moment. They're making sure two departments cannot share information within their own government. Now, this is necessary to ensure that children are not placed with human traffickers or with predators. Maybe you had a little time, maybe you didn't care about politics, you would allow a little sharing of information for the children. Organizations like Immigration and Customs Enforcement and the Department of Justice are underfunded. Requests for pay and overtime costs for Border Patrol agents are denied. Think about that. In the last month, 144,000 people were apprehended coming across the border illegally. Unbelievable numbers. Have not seen that in decades. So what do the Democrats rush? Deny overtime. Deny the ability for those who are serving us the ability to work. And immigration judges do not get the resources they needed for additional staff or courtroom space or equipment. America is a country that believes in the rule of law. But I guess on this floor, it's not the case. You want to deny it. Now, I wonder that maybe, Madam Speaker, on the other side, they say, well, it's just so rushed to judgment. It's such a big bill, I didn't get to read it. But you know what? Earlier today, everyone in this chamber had the ability to vote for more funding for judges just to deal with this crisis. Because I've heard, Madam Speaker, on the other side of the aisle, you actually now use the word crisis. It only took 56 days. But lo and behold, when they had that moment, not to be confused, not to have a big bill, but only that subject, every single Democrat on the other side of the aisle except 7 said no. So you made sure you put it in this political bill as well. Deny overtime during a crisis, because you said it was a crisis, but make sure nobody can work. You have a crisis, but make sure, Madam Speaker, that we can't have the judges down there, because somehow I guess maybe you don't believe in the rule of law. And additional funding to investigate human traffickers who you know are smuggling these children across the border is not included. Maybe that's why you want to rush this bill to the floor. Maybe that's why you don't want to give people an opportunity to read it. Because how will you answer that? How will you answer that additional funding to investigate human traffickers who are smuggling children you do not want to include? Did you read the editorials? Is it wrong to prevent the administration from improving the welfare of unaccompanied children, as this bill will do? Democrats are far more interested in appearing to help children than in actually helping them. The pace and volume in which children have crossed our border over the last year have completely overwhelmed our existing resources. Madam Speaker, you're making sure that nobody could work overtime during this. In the first half of 2019, more than 56,000 unaccompanied children were apprehended by the Customs and Border Protection. That's a 74% increase from last year and higher than the yearly totals for the last 5. Luckily, someone finally realized that's a crisis but made sure there's no money to deal with it. Health and Human Service shelters are full and out of money. They cannot care for the children if Congress does not pass solutions. Now, HHS Secretary Alex Azar sent us a very clear message. Madam Speaker, this is what he said. I can't put a kid in a bed that does not exist. I cannot make a bed that Congress does not fund. And to think that you would knowingly pass something that causes this problem. Madam Speaker, Democrats are proud that their bill, unlike the Senate, does not help our overstretched law enforcement officers. That is shameful. To take pride in making sure they do not get the help. Border Patrol agents now spend half of their time processing claims and caring for families in custody, including making trips to hospitals and clinics. They're going beyond the call of duty every day and deserve our support whether you like them or not. If the children who come across our southern border are to be properly cared for, Madam Speaker, Democrats' distrust of our national law enforcement officers must stop. Madam Speaker, it's been 56 days, but all Democrats threw together is a sham bill of more than 3 hours ago. It does not adequately fund what needed to be funded and would only make the crisis worse. Democrats are holding another vote late in the night on legislation that has no chance of becoming law. Madam Speaker, we are better than this. Madam Speaker, it's not very far. If you walk out these doors, you look down that hall, you'll see the other chambers. You know what happened in the other chambers? They worked a bill through committee. They worked a bipartisan bill through committee. They didn't run it to the floor in 3 hours. They didn't tell the Rules Committee to be ready and wait and wait and wait, and then quickly, after they cut a deal, on one side. They took something that is critical, something that is serious, and they acted that way. History will write about what happens on this floor. You may get emotional, you may be proud of your action, but the question will be, will history be kind to you? Question will be, when you voted that day, when you were sworn in, did you really mean 72 hours? When you stand on the floor and you speak of a crisis and you speak of caring for children, why would you not fund to make sure people are not trafficking them? When you spoke that there was a crisis on the border, why would you not fund the men and women who work for our government? Why would you try to deny them overtime? Madam Speaker, I know the 4th of July is soon. And I know members want to get out of here. But America is more than a country. America is an idea of self-governance, an idea that the rule of law matters. This is not one of our finest moments. This is not one that I'm proud of. And what's so ashamed, Madam Speaker, is just a few yards away, they're showing us an example. Are you rushing because you're afraid the Senate's going to send us something that's bipartisan? Are you rushing because you're afraid the Senate will actually make law? There's a lot of things we can play political games with, but I never thought children would be the one you wanted to use. We are better than this. There is a moment in time where you should stand up to your own leadership. There is a moment in time that you should stand up for this country. There is a moment in time, and this is it. You don't have to follow and be rushed. You can say no. I watched what the Senate has done. I watched people with my own philosophical belief, belong to my own party, work together with the other side and actually come to a bill that could become law. It's not perfect. It's not what I would agree with 100%. But you know what? I understand our government's designed to find compromise. I don't know what compromise is in this. I don't know who ever worked with another side. I don't know even who rushed it to the Rules Committee just to do some manager's amendments because you bought off a few people. This is not our finest moment by far. But Madam Speaker, there is a moment in time that individuals can stand up. And I'm hoping that the moment is tonight, that we actually stand for what this country believes and what we'll celebrate on the 4th of July. I yield back.
Members are directed